Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about cloud computing fundamentals. Generally, like what is cloud? Why are we using cloud computing? And what was the traditional model before cloud? How it was configured, and what is the traditional way of running your infrastructure? So let's get started. Okay. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is nothing but Microsoft, a cloud service provider, provides you a service which includes servers, storage, database, network, analytics, intelligence, everything over the internet. Which means you don't need to have a physical data center. You don't need to maintain any physical data center or physical devices in order to run your business. Only thing is like Microsoft provides you a portal where you will get a complete access to the n number of services, like different set of services like compute, storage, network, uh, databases, or serverless computing, or backup, disaster recovery. So those kind of services are available in there. We just need to log into a portal and access it. Like either you can use API to access, or you can use command line tools, or you can directly log into a portal and can access it. And one more biggest advantage is like whatever you are creating, you are going to pay only for that. For example, you're creating a VM and you for monthly it charges for 5,000, and you are just using it for a hour or per 1 day in a month. So you will just pay for the utilization of that VM on that particular day. So you're not going to pay for the complete month. So in traditional on-premise, how it was is generally, uh, let's try it. One second. So you have your on-premise. What happens is on-premise is a physical data center where you will have your hardware components like storage devices, your virtualization like hypervisors, and your network switches, and everything will be there in this on-premise data center. So in this data center, you will have like a separate racks, storage racks, or network switches, or virtualization racks. In that, you will have your hypervisor and everything, and then upon that, you will use some virtualizations like VMware or Hyper-V to create a spin up of VMs. And in order to do this on-prem, in order to use this on-prem, like there will be like a separate set of teams earlier, like a network will be handled by a different team, and storage, and then VMware, and then there will be a different team for managing the operating systems. And also like if you are owning a data center, like generally it will be like owned by a company who is supporting the customer, or customer themselves will have their own data center. So whoever is like supporting, you need to maintain like uh, operational charges, which is like a capital investment. Like you need to have a separate owned place or rented place in order to place all your hardware devices, and you need to have a separate cooling system to maintain the temperature for room temperature in those uh, device where exactly your devices are placed. And also you need to have a secure infrastructure to prevent unauthorized access to inside the premises. So those are all kind of like a many things. uh, Even now, like even after cloud computing, even there are few clients, they still use their on-premise data center. It depends actually, like it depends on like how critical your application, whether the clients wants to place the data in cloud, which is owned by a cloud service provider, or themselves in their own they owned data centers, they need to keep their data over there or not. Now most of the clients have moved to cloud, or they follow the hybrid cloud model, where they will have some data in on-premise data center, and only few certain things are getting synced into a cloud. So that is what cloud computing. Cloud computing is nothing but in a single portal. You will be able to do anything. Like if you want to create a VM, there is no dependency between the different teams. Like the team has to configure the network, and the team has to allocate some space from your storage devices, and then this virtualization team will spin up a VM. So that's not required. You can in cloud computing, you can just log into the portal and uh, create a VM, just like click and create. You'll be able to create spin up a new VM. It will take hardly like 5 minutes, and if it is a Linux, it will like very much faster. Like in 2 3 minutes, you will have a VM get created. Okay. And then comes what is the benefits of cloud computing. As we discussed, comparison between your traditional way of on-premise data center and other cloud computing. So cloud computing is also nothing but it's not everything like from the internet. It's like the data center which is managed by the cloud service provider. In our case, it is Microsoft. And the data center which is managed or owned by the client or the company who supports the client. So the thing is like when you own it, you will be responsible for the complete maintenance of those hardware or upgrading the hardware, or in case if any failure happens, you will be responsible for collaborating with the engineer and replacing those devices. And also like whenever it comes to like for example, you purchase hardware today and you will use it for a year, and next year you see like a new latest updated hardware. Every time you can't go and invest and keep on purchasing it, right? Sometimes we just run legacy hardwares. So in cloud, you don't need to worry about the version. Every time like Microsoft keeps on upgrading their infrastructure hardwares to provide you a service like increase your performance, reduce the latency, and increase the reliability, redundancy, everything. So that's the benefit of cloud computing. Here we see total seven: cost, speed, global scale, productivity, performance, reliability, security. So cost wise, like you don't need to maintain a different separate data center, maintain the cooling system, everything. Here, whatever you created, whatever resources, whatever services you created in cloud, you're going to just pay only for that. Uh, Pay as you give is nothing but if you are having a 100 GB disk and you are utilized only for 50 GB, you're going to pay only for the 50 GB. So that's how you get benefited from cloud computing. And the speed wise, you don't need to wait for a way wait for an hour for spinning up a new virtualization. It's just within a matter of minutes you can spin up any kind of resource in cloud. And global scale, if it is on-prem, like you'll be authorized to access only from a specific location. In cloud it is not the case. You can access your cloud portal from anywhere in the world. And also like for example, you are located in a certain location. For example, you can take a, you are in India, and if you want to host your servers and database everything in US, so you can do it. Like you can just spin up a resource and select the region, and you can bring the server up, and you can connect those servers from here itself, from whichever the location you are. If you have a secured way of, if you design your infrastructure in a secured way by placing all the best practices of security, then you don't need to worry about any kind of like worry about your data getting lost or data getting hacked. So only thing you need to be sure is like whatever wherever you are placing it, encrypt it in a proper way to have additional layer of security. And also accessing those servers, just configure in such a way that having a firewall as a front end or a network virtual appliances, through that the traffic should flow between you, the end user, to the backend servers. Okay. Productivity, performance, reliability is nothing but generally Microsoft. Whenever you store any data, Microsoft has a high availability concept. Like you have one region. For every region, Microsoft has a paid region. So whenever you are deploying something, and they will have this data replicated to that. For example, in the upcoming lectures, we will see about what kind of replication, what is paid region, and how Microsoft is providing you a high availability for your data. So generally, when you have a storage, right, you will have a LRS, GRS, RAGRS, and ZRS. So that is nothing but you will have, for example, if you are creating placing your data in a primary region, and it will have a certain copies. In case if anything goes down, still you will have a data copied in your secondary region. So this is by default. There will be a concept of high availability at the Azure backend. And also in case if you want to have your primary and DR region, even from our end, from end user end, we can configure a replication strategy. Whatever data you are going to place in your primary region, you can configure a data replication between this primary region to your secondary region. In case if any disaster happens in the primary region, still your data will be available in the secondary region. So that's how we configure the cloud computing, the infrastructure in a secured way. And security wise, as I said, It completely depends on our environment. What are the security features we need to implement? Generally, whatever data you store, it is encrypted at rest at the data center level. In case if you want to encrypt it by your own keys, like the keys which you manage, that is also possible. You can encrypt the data using your uh, custom keys, and the communication between your the middle way of communication, the communication is also encrypted using a TLS 1.2 version. So no need to worry about the your data is end to end encrypted and secure. So coming to our types of cloud computing. So there are different ways of deploying a cloud services: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. As we discussed earlier about the on-prem, and now we have the public cloud. We can access it from anywhere, and you have a hybrid cloud. So public cloud is nothing but it is owned and operated by a third-party cloud service provider to deliver services like compute, storage, or network over the internet. And there are major cloud providers like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, Oracle. So there is these are the major public cloud providers, and also they have their own private cloud as well, like Azure Stack. Private cloud is nothing but there will be a separate data center, or in the Azure itself, like in Stack, if you're using, there will be a separate dedicated storage or hardware devices for the client, whichever you are supporting, or for you, whoever is running the business. And when it comes to hybrid, there will be like a both places. Like you will have your on-premise data center and you will have a cloud. So you will have a connectivity established between these two data centers using express route or site-to-site connection, so that it's not required to completely move your data to cloud. You can keep your data everything in the on-prem and you can sync that to your Azure cloud. So that is the types of cloud computing in Azure. So hybrid cloud combines both private and public cloud, and you can use it like you can place your resources in both the places and establish a connectivity. For example, you have a web server in hosted in cloud and you have a DB. Generally, we won't do it, but this is just an example scenario. If you want to establish a connectivity between your web server and DB, either you can connect via internet if it is exposed to the internet, or if it is a secured, you can configure as express route or site-to-site connection between your Azure data center and on-prem data center. So the communication will happen via your Azure backbone network or the private connection which we have configured. So that's the types of cloud computing. Next comes the types of cloud services. So cloud services, there are four categories, but here we are just going to cover three major categories: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So infrastructure as a service is nothing but you create a VM, and like whichever the operating system you select, and you configure the disk. And once it is configured, you format it, and then you install some application packages and copy your application code and expose it to the internet and bring your web page. Same way in platform as a service, you are not going to create a VM or worry about the infrastructure. You just spin up a PaaS service and copy your code and deploy it and publish it and run it. It will be just that it will Microsoft will provide you a platform to deploy your code. Infrastructure as a service is Microsoft again provides you a kind of a platform. You build your infrastructure, and upon that you deploy your code and install your application, and then you expose it. Software as a service is nothing but kind of like a application. For example, if you take a Gmail, in order to create a Gmail account, you're not going to code anything or copy and deploy your code. You're not going to spin up any server. You just open your browser and access gmail.com and then sign up, provide your details and sign up. It will create a Gmail account and you can start using it to send or receive emails. So it's like no need to worry about what kind of hardware where the Gmail is hosted, or what kind of programming language is used for your Gmail. So only thing we will worry about is like you will just use that as a service and create an account and start utilizing it. Same like how you have your mobile network, like you purchase a SIM card and you use it. You're not going to maintain about whether they are passing their softwares in mobile towers or not. You're not going to worry about it. Only thing is like you should have a get a service without any interruption. So that is software as a service. And platform, they provide your platform, you deploy your code. Examples you can take as a like online coding terminals like IDE like available which is in online. They provide your platform. You just open that site and they give a terminal. You copy your code and paste it over there and validate it. Run the code and test it out what is the output. So that's, you can consider that as a platform as a service. In Azure, the examples are Azure SQL Database, MySQL servers, Azure Web App. So those things comes under platform as a service because they provide your database. You're just going to feed your data inside the database. IaaS, they provide you a portal like a virtualization hypervisor. Everything is managed by them. You just create a VM and start using it. So these are the three major types of cloud services which